Everyone's favorite Olympic event is go.
Oh,
Ooh,
God.
I have not watched any of them.
Really?
Any of them at all.
Like
I've seen the highlights.
Man, I like the like races. Like I love like track and field, and
Okay,
I
track and field.
love
Okay.
like the swimming, like where I can be like go go go, like yell at my TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
It's like the Kentucky Derby in water or
yes,
I
I
would favor those compared to there's one. It was like the sharpshooting, the shooting. I don't know that doesn't get me excited if they're sitting there.
I got excited on that one only because Guatemala won their first ever
Oh, did they?
medal.
Nice.
Sorry, their first ever gold medal. It was a female shooter in one of the events. I'm not even sure which one, but I was just like, go you, Guatemala.
Yeah.
My favorite has been gymnastics because my older
Okay.
daughters are obsessed with the story and the narrative and the potential infighting. It's like Real Housewives of the Olympics, but they're not married yet, or some of them are.
They're 4'8" to 5'1".
Simone Biles. Simone's from Westerville, Ohio, so just down the road from here too.
Oh.
So that's
pretty cool.
another. And then my boys, I think I've said this before, but they just have realized that sports exist because I'm a bad father. And
I'm
so they
similar.
are.
No, they know about golf.
They know about golf. They learned about the NFL 2 games before the Super Bowl. So they're just
Nice.
like,
That's good. You have to
still, they're
start
like,
somewhere.
when is the NFL coming back, Dad? This is awesome. My son cried because he wanted San Francisco to win. He like decorated the whole basement. So they and they got into NBA during the finals, but they just haven't experienced a full anything yet. Like the Olympics will be the first full season
Gotcha.
of anything. And they're all about just like the weird events. Like ping pong,
Like badminton. It's like
fencing.
why.
They're like, wait, there's a sport where you stab people. This is incredible. And it's just fun to watch. Now, the reason I actually bring up the Olympics is not just to do a fun banter in the cold open, but it's been a really insightful insight into how people are using AI overview search results or search results in general, vastly different than I did in their age. So, the internet, for me, I didn't really start using it until I got into college. It was dial up and you had to wait like 3 minutes for a photo to fully load on the screen. I remember the first time I saw an animated GIF of a Star Wars logo, I blew my mind. Flying toasters as a screensaver, that's the era that I grew up in. If you don't know what that is, then
The toasters.
I'm sorry. But like if you wanted an answer, it's because you had a legitimate problem, you had a meeting you were going to, like you're Googling or researching something, knowing that any search is probably going to take you a couple of minutes at least to get to the answer you want. My 2 boys, 9 and almost 9 in a couple days and 10, they're asking questions about the Olympics that no human being should even care to know, let alone demand to know the answer to right now. Like, well, how long has this person been training? Have they been to the Olympics before? What's their favorite food? Like, how much money do they make? And they're not okay with just saying, I don't know, just watch the darn show. Like, search it up, Dad. Like, that is their favorite verb phrase. And I'm pretty sure that's terrible grammar.
search it up, Dad.
Yeah, search it up.
Dad.
Search it. They don't say Google. They're just like, search it up. And I'm like, I don't want to search it up. But they
search it up.
They know that the answer is going to be given within 15 seconds.
Yeah. This is the same conversation we just had last night at my house. We were talking about, I can't remember who it was, lost. And then they had to leave the Olympic Village. And then Andrew, my husband, Andrew, was like, Sam, Google like how long that they have before they have to leave the Olympic Village after they lose. Like, what's the amount of time that they have? Like,
what is that?
Who cares? Like, what?
To me, it's amazing.
48 hours, by the way. They have 48 hours to
still time to say their
leave
goodbyes.
the Olympic Village after they lose.
Get one more free ice cream cone or whatever it is.
Load up Tinder, I think that's a thing, right?
Like they got a couple days. That's not bad.
It's amazing to me, the impulsiveness, knowing that the friction is almost zero now to get an answer.
Yeah.
It's just, there is no way to like, what do I say and be any form of reasonable person? Like, no, I'm not going to hit the button and hold it down and ask
Mhm.
Siri or ChatGPT or Google to just give me the quick answer. And it's this like full on cyborg approach to life of we have outsourced our brains to these devices for quick, simple answers. But I mean, again, for me, you used to do that when you were in an argument with your wife. You're like, oh yeah, well, and then you'd walk in the other room and you'd search online for a couple minutes.
You're still wrong, even if you're right. So
Well,
still wrong.
Kevin, when you just said like quick, easy answers, I got my online sales antenna went
Quick,
up
easy answer.
because I'm like, yeah, that's why we need online sales specialists because people want quick answers to their questions.
Well, I think that's the
PTSD.
other, and it'll lead into my story time. But quick, easy answers are one thing, followed up by an intricate, in-depth next question, an expected answer, shatters everything.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's really interesting, Google's AI overview results. If you type in new homes, any geography in the country, it's not even going to try to summarize it. It knows better because it's not designed to be real time. The data set isn't built to interact with a large language model in that way. Like but it's almost any question you ask with who, when, where, why, how.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like, how do you build a home or how long will it take to build a home? It's going to give you a summarized answer with some outbound links, but it's not e-commerce type solutions because it can't be real time enough to know if something's in stock, available, what the current price is. It's just not how it's built.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Welcome to episode 348. I'm Kevin Oakley, and with me today is Jen Barkan and the ad doctor, Andrew Peak.
Yeah, buddy. We're here.
All right, Jen, people's choice. We love it when you're here. Go, story time.
No pressure. No pressure.
First one up.
Do you see what this says in the notes? Walking Dead prospecting corpse revival.
I thought this was like some church you're going to now or something with a revival. What's happening?
What do you think that
I thought it had something to do with a biker gang for sure.
Or a new season of
Kevin,
Walking Dead.
I'm no longer Buzzkill in the mic in the.
You're not affiliated.
I'm
you don't wear
seeing
the patch.
a large amount of. I don't even know what you call it, but you're riding.
Yeah, we rode one
on socials
time last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, this story. Okay, I was on a coaching call, and the OSC was telling me like, oh my gosh, like my Walking Dead list, blah blah blah, or the Walking Dead. Corpse revival, such and such. Like I knew what she was talking about, like this, and I'm just listening to her. And then I'm like, hold on a second. Like, what is this list?
What
Wait, explain what you're talking about here. And she goes, oh, my corpse revival. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? She's like,
weird.
She goes, our database is so big that we have to, like, I'm segmenting and I'm like, older leads and like older leads beyond that. And then like Walking Dead corpse survival leads. Like I'm going through all of these leads. Right. And I said, okay, makes sense. And I said, all right, tell me what were the results of this Walking Dead list? And she goes, well, it was a specific community. I pulled leads back from 2018. So what's that? 6 years? 6 years?
That's wild. Yeah. I mean, even when they keep talking about the Tokyo Olympics in 2020. First of all, I don't think I watched any of it back then. I don't know what was happening. But then my second immediate thought is, wait, 2020 was when COVID started? That seems like forever ago.
Like,
masks and
I swear
craziness.
we like 2 years are like in the vortex somewhere. I don't know. Anyway,
2018.
so I share this story with you. One, she spent 15 hours in a month. Okay. Which in the scheme of things is not that long, but I've just shared these results with you. 284 calls that she made. She only connected with 100 people. Of those 100 people, she talked 225 minutes. Okay. Of talk time. And she got one appointment. She got one appointment.
Did she
And how
any
many
list
hours?
hygiene?
Yes. Okay. So
That's good.
Well, yeah.
Something out
So
of it.
when I said to her, she's like, tell me about this. And we kind of did the math, and it's really good to track your results for this purpose. And I said, wow, one appointment. How do you feel about that? And she goes, I cleaned the database up. She goes, the database hadn't been, because she's fairly new with this particular builder, and pre her, nothing had really been happening. Right. And so she goes, now I'm working on getting this database cleaned up. She goes, so I know in the future, I will have better results. I didn't get great results because what? Nobody's contacted anybody. And so I just share this story to say is, and we're going to talk about benchmarks today, but like everybody's database is huge because there was such an influx of leads in the last few years, right? So everybody's got this huge database. You've got to segment upon segmenting. Like you've got to not just go, like it doesn't make sense to go back to these super old leads with the same message that you're going back to maybe a year ago leads. So your database is, important. There should certainly be marketing things happening with those older leads and different types of messaging, but it's hard. It takes a lot of work. The majority of it is list hygiene. But if you're consistent with it, you will start to see those results paying off. We're seeing upwards of, 25% of appointments right now. Oh. Like people who are doing a consistent job of this, 25% of them are coming from older leads and they're converting to sale. Because 2 years ago, people were like, yeah, I'm going to wait a couple years and see what happens. Well, the 2 years is up. And so they're seeing like, oh, okay, these people are ready now to enter back into the market. And what I'm hearing from OSCs is people aren't really saying anything about interest rates. Like that's not really
we've turned the corner on that.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already heading lower. The belief is that they will continue over time to go lower. And so that whole group of people who before we were like, hey, marry the house and date the rate, trust us, it'll go down. And then they watch for a year it not go down. And in fact, continue slowly going up. Now, at least you have some realistic thinking going on in their mind of like, okay, it might not be lowering as much as I want it to right away, but it's at least headed in that direction. Right. And so now it's about finding the right.
It doesn't seem to be an issue. Like on the front lines, it doesn't seem to be an issue.
Not at the top of the funnel. It's still, I can't afford this home. The payment's too high.
Right.
But at the beginning of the search, it should be no surprise that the reason people move is not because of an interest rate promotion. I was thinking about this morning, actually, I was just brushing my teeth, I'm not saying that marketing and advertising don't have an impact. You have to do them well to communicate to your audience. Mm-hmm. But it's about doing that awareness well and efficiently and, stealing from your competition by doing it well and efficiently. Mm-hmm. It's not about creating demand because the friction of moving is too big. There's something else that's causing them to want to move. And so when you're just shouting rates at people who are not even thinking about moving.
Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares?
Right. Yeah.
Agreed.
So I just say this lovingly to any online sales specialist listening. It does pay off in the end because a relevant, well-maintained database you will have better conversions, you'll have better success versus never reaching out and on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So.
I had a conversation with a marketer yesterday who one of the other coaches works with primarily. We were doing some summit prep and we were talking about the ratios needing to be right between people who are just beginning to look. When we're talking about on-site experiences, not online, but on-site experiences, in terms of how do we staff, because builders are having a really hard time right now finding and retaining great sales talent. Mm-hmm. They have high turnover rates, sometimes because they should, oftentimes because they should be turning people over, but they're having a hard time. And so just talking about like staffing models of how do we stay open, and this person I was talking to said, we were doing events where we would like have 150 people every time we did them, and we did them pretty regularly. But the sales team again was like, well, we just wanted to get activity. We're not really. If you had 5 great prospects, you're better off. Like they have high intent, high interest. You're better off having an event with 20 people, and they are 5 of the 20.
Yeah.
Then you're still going to get those same 5 probably who show up in the 150, but no one will know who they are. They'll never, the chances of them finding the proverbial needle in the haystack isn't going to work. And then similarly with open house hours.
And you would feel more special. You would feel like.
Very true. Better experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we talked about open house hours because my builder, when it was similar times where walk-in traffic was low in 2009, we said, we're only open for open house hours Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 5. And that funneled the top of the funnel traffic that wasn't sure exactly what they wanted to all kind of arrive in those same windows of time on top of sometimes good prospects coming back, or even I hear a lot now, and I get it, like don't schedule appointments on the weekend. But right now, imagine a walk-in traffic unit or 2 showing up where there is an appointment going on. Now you have to juggle it. You have to be trained how to do that. You have to have systems for registration and provide value there. But you're better off, again, having some activity than just one person walking through a model home complex with a sales rep with just crickets and background noise. So there is this, because I've been thinking, again, content-wise for the summit of what I think we need to go a little more in depth into. And for me, it's right now, people are still focused on efficiency. It's part of this obsession with AI of we have to become super efficient. And I'm just looking at it and saying, I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Like you should be efficient with those leads from 2018.
Right. Exactly.
But the leads, like if I could give that online sales specialist those 15 hours back. Right. I would say, let's craft the most amazing personal.
Yes.
And I just think we have a lot, the baggage that salespeople have brought from the pandemic through now is more easily defined. Marketers and online sales teams still have some baggage that hasn't been as clearly called out and defined of like, you have to stop that. You just got to cut it out. All right, Andrew. Sorry.
Agreed. That's good.
Your story time, please.
No,
I like it. Mine's on the opposite end of
no, I love it. This is going to be
peaceful and tranquility. So last week we went to I think I mentioned the community, Epperson Lagoon, one of the crystal lagoons. I think Metro Places or Metro Lagoons.
Yeah, I was like, where the heck are you?
You're like, where are you at? Is the developer. So this is a good picture. If you're watching, this is a great picture. Because online, you look at it, you focus on like, man, that water is super blue. That's really cool. And the landscape, you're like, look at the palm trees. We're down in Florida, so these palm trees are like, they practically give them away. They kind of planted. But then when you get there, in my mindset, I was like, all right, let's pretend like I'm a potential buyer, I'm a visitor, but also like, let's enjoy it, but also put on my marketing hat. It's hard to be, you're all of that all the time once you're in marketing. I was like, ooh, this is a great opportunity. They're still building in this community. There's actually townhomes going right up against the lagoon, and they're called like residences at the lagoon or something like that. I don't know if that'd be good or bad because you got like the lagoon in your backyard, but it's peaceful little view. So I'm like, oh, this is a great way to bring people out to the community. They can see how nice it is. Like the streets are perfect. There's wonderful landscaping, but then you get to the lagoon and I'm like, this feels like a parking lot. Like the lagoon itself, the pictures are great. But then you look like your view, because you're sitting there looking outward, not at the amenities. You're looking out most of the time. Giant chain link fence. It's black, like it's one of the coated, like pretty chain link fences, but it's, like 1,600 feet long. Zero landscaping,
you're
kind of sad
reminded
grass.
That you're not in the Bahamas.
You're not in the Bahamas. But the pictures make you feel like I'm in the Bahamas. Put the music on.
Yeah, you're like,
let's go.
Back to reality.
Like service was great. Like the amenities were great. Everything's great. But then it's like,
can you buy drinks and stuff on the edges of the water? You could.
So we had they called it an aqua and cabana combined together. You got drinks, you got food. Like you could go there. Like it's like if you've been on a cruise and you go to like a day pass, like resort, like Mr. Sanchez and Cozumel, like any of those, like it feels very much like that. There's just people, hey, do you need anything? Hey, do you need anything? But you're paying cash for everything, of course. Like it's not like all inclusive. But then it didn't feel finished. And it's been there for a while. Like I believe I'm 99% sure Michael Phelps was at the grand opening for this one. So tying the Olympics there. So it's been there for quite some time. I'm like,
my son informed me, by the way, about Michael Phelps. He said, hey, Dad, Michael Phelps is your age minus my age. That's how old he is. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for that.
I like
He
the creative
Googled
math
it.
on that. Like
searched
dad's
it up.
age minus mine equals Michael Phelps. So we're kind of related to Michael Phelps. But it was good, but it really took away from like the wowness or like the, hey, we got to tell everyone about this. Like it was still like a great time. It was like, oh, it was okay. It was good.
I want you to finish your whole experience, but I think this is super important because we've seen this in data talking with our builder partners that when would be the best time if like the ideal scenario is for a sales representative to connect with you or be able to somehow begin the conversation as you are arriving. Now that's not when you're going to want to see them because you're going to want to get out there. But sometime before the end of the magic wears off. I guess what you're describing is like, it is great. There's nothing bad about it.
Right. No, nothing bad. No complaints. Just.
But the emotional altitude, the excitement, oh my gosh, maybe we should live here.
Yeah.
It's going to fade.
It faded. I mean, it was July in Florida, so it was hot. It was super hot. But
and there's no shade on the water unless you're under a cabana, right?
And then you're paying a premium for a cabana. So like, I won't say how much it costs, but like it was a bit. So it's like $40 per person that you're paying for the cabana. So we were like, hey, this is one of the last things this summer. Cool. Let's spend some money. Like that's totally fine. And I was like, well, this is not like if you're like, hey, let's day pass this community to see if we want to live here is what I'm thinking. Like in this whole conversation, not just talking about like, hey, there's how the lagoon was, but like, ooh, like I don't think it didn't excite us to like, hey, let's sell a house and we could get a home here that is still like from the 400s. It didn't create that thing, which I think that's, to me, I had that expectation. Like even during COVID, I'm like, Lindsay, we can move to this place and get a golf cart. And like, this is our life. Every day's a vacation.
Do you feel like it was more about considering some other neighborhood that would be in the 400s? Like it wasn't, what you're talking about is it's not enough to make me want to move or give up other things, but all other things being equal, hey, we've got a lagoon or not. And again, that's surprising given the scope and the expense likely of this thing, that's kind of all it was doing for you.
Yeah, it didn't, it's like it didn't feel finished, which I know new communities, like you have like fresh landscaping, you can't put in like, the budget would be insane if you put like a 12-foot tree versus a 7-foot tree. So that would be unreasonable, but it just missed the mark. And then like 90% of the people there were guests. So then the residences don't really go during the day. It seems like they have resident hours.
If you live there, if you're a resident, do you still have to pay the really expensive price for the cabana?
I don't know. I assume they have resident only hours. Maybe those are like free, like included with your HOA fee. But maybe like outside of that, there's some type of discount. I know there's a resident entrance compared to like the guest entrance. And I hope that if we buy the guest pass, like we're on the list for the builders to potentially contact. Hey, hope you had a great time at Epperson. We'd love for you to come out and view the model homes.
Do you think a reduced rate Airbnb as a builder marketing thing would be useful or not?
I think that could help. Like, hey, this could be like be a resident for a day. Like some country clubs they have like member for the day, like during the summer, like and slower.
A lot of
months.
age targeted communities will do that. Yeah. They'll have a couple of units where you can stay for 2 or 3 days for a reduced rate, or sometimes even free to experience.
So that would reduce like hey, we have a golf cart set up for you. You could go to the resident hours where there's more food trucks that come out. You get to experience the whole thing versus the only thing we had was like showing up, long line to get in, hot parking lot.
There's
zero
a long
shade.
line to get in?
Yeah, then there's security to get in because you can't bring in drinks and food because that's how they make their money. So it was a little, it's restrictive. It's like a theme park.
See, that doesn't make sense. Like if you as a residents can't come and have a picnic,
you can't bring
with your family.
And residents, I think they can't even bring stuff in.
Wow.
I believe. I could be wrong. So everyone listening, I could be completely wrong. But it seemed like that was the setup security was pretty tight. Like there was like the thing you got to dump your water. Then if you have like, you got your Stanley Cup, it's got to be empty, which is okay. because they're there to make money. They're like, we have a hydration station. You're like, well, I put my flavor in this and it has water. Like you gotta dump it out.
That seems a little.
They do have alcohol sales and all that. So it was very much a business within the community versus being a part of the community, which is, I think that is probably the model and how it functions.
Yeah, that was something talked a lot about at PCBC is the trend, or at least Terry Slavic was really encouraging this trend. Instead of building a $5 million clubhouse, why don't you build light commercial properties for coffee shops, et cetera, and either partially or fully subsidize the rent for them?
Yeah.
And say, run a business here and you don't have to pay anything, because then you're paying that out over time versus $5 million at once.
Yeah.
And it creates this community atmosphere that people want. Small
I think
town
that's great. I think that's a great
kind of effect.
So that's what
I love
want.
that idea.
Yeah. So it was like a 6.5 out of 10. Not great, not bad, but it was a good time.
It looks cool.
But it didn't. People were like, "Where's this place at?" Like Jenna had like 6 people. Like, where is this? Lindsay put on her story, had like 30 people. What is this? Can I do with my friend? And they're like, how much does it cost? And down here it would be like we could get a annual membership to like Busch Gardens and Adventure Island for the year for our family for the cost we went for one day. So if you're local, you're like, well, I spend $600-$500 to go there, or just spend $50 per month to get a Busch Gardens annual pass.
And if you're not
for the
local,
family.
you're not coming down.
You're not going there. So it's
Anyway.
yeah, it was interesting. So maybe we'll go back. There's like 4 in the area, which is insane. There's so many of them.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they really caught on quickly.
The numbers must work. So if I'm coming in from like opportunity standpoint of where I think I could see improvements,
Again, the numbers would work if the amenity is truly paying for itself. That is extremely rare. If you can have something in your community that normally it's the developer paying cleaning and maintenance and everything else out of pocket on top of building it, because they're subsidizing HOA fees out of the gate. So if this is you don't have to subsidize the fee on this because you have people paying to come in and you're making money off food and that. I bet the money.
It's got to be
problem.
There's like 30 employees, so
Isn't a problem.
it was wild. It was big. All right.
Super interesting. Okay. My story time is
Favorite.
kind of a question first. So, well, not a question. Here's I love theories. I like thinking through scenarios. And I think that builders are likely engaging with consumers using AI more than they think, but in not the ways that they think. My prognostication, my estimate, my guesstimate.
Should we write this down?
Is that the number one use of AI for consumers when interacting with a home builder or an existing home is, hey, ChatGPT, please help me negotiate a better price for this home.
Really?
That's my hunch, is that most of the communication, the engagement, because people are unsure of what to say, and my experience has been that when people are uncertain of what to say, that's when they say, I would like a cheat code, please. I would like to use this to say something that I'm uncertain how to say the right way. And if you go on Reddit, you'll see some of this. So I know it's not a completely
Are you putting that in, Andrew? Or are you putting in?
I am. I just want to see what it says. Help me lower the price of a new home I'm buying, which is a terrible prompt, but I'm being a normal person.
The conversation just happened 2 hours ago with a builder who, before this marketer has told me, like, I essentially live in ChatGPT. Like, it knows everything about me. I use it in and out all the time. It's amazing. We talked 2 hours ago and he's like, yeah, so, I mean, I know I'm a unique, strange person. Yes, college students, high school students, middle school students are using this. Parents are using this apparently for wedding speeches and, writing things that they're not used to using or feeling comfortable. But
That sounds good.
the idea that consumers are using it to proactively search for answers of where they should go look, or if homes are available in their price range, he's like, that just nothing in the data for our very large organization leads me to believe that anyone of any size is coming here related to that. So that's just all my lead up to Search GPT from the makers of ChatGPT, is in testing phase, they're calling it. You can join the wait list. So what's wild is that all the examples that people have posted online of them using this service, essentially, like Search GPT is ChatGPT in itself. And what I mean by that is they're taking the easiest, lowest common denominator approach to getting search results using a Search GPT interface. They essentially just go to all the main aggregation websites of content and summarize the content there and then link out to it. They're not linking to a particular type of hotel or a particular location, which makes sense because that's not how LLMs work. They don't have current up-to-date information from yesterday or today at their disposal. That's all. I think the latest we're in right now is like April in time frame on a lot of the LLMs. So instead, you're like, I would like to know a great hotel in Manhattan to whatever. And it's going to summarize a couple of general locations, and all of the outbound links are not to hotel properties. They're to Travelocity and Expedia. And the places that you would go, Andrew, to like you'd click on hoping for the answer, and then you'd be like, oh, darn, I have to do work.
Yeah, I have to go to Reddit.
Like listicles or the 15 best hotels on the east side of Manhattan.
Then you gotta
go through, and every page has a different set of ads, and there's news station things with audio playing in the background. But that's where they're going to, is these large because I say they're ChatGPT themselves. It's just like, what's the easiest aggregated way to not actually do work, but to give people a result that looks like it's what they want? Just send them to the aggregation sites and summarize the data that they have. And I think ChatGPT or OpenAI has done a lot of content, licensing programs with large aggregator sites. So it's not surprising. Anyway, as of right now, it's another one of the, like, at first I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. Like some competition, something else to look at. This is going to be great. Now, the other kind of thing that it makes me think about is if you have a mediocre search result tool that people do actually want to use because they think it's going to be good, then maybe the ad product becomes really useful, because the only thing that's going to actually link to a hotel specifically would be the hotel that's paying for an ad. Right now, they have no ad products for the system at all, but super interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was like, man, this will be exciting, because I like ChatGPT. I did notice like the freshness of data. I have very specific uses I use it for. And usually it doesn't matter if the data is like, help me write this formula. I think it's like G code and Excel. Like, you still need to understand how it functions, because you can't just copy and paste it. But you're like, oh, okay, that's the easiest way to see the formula completed, or write this regular expression. And so I kind of use that as a learning tool. But with like GA4 and Universal Analytics, if you're trying to troubleshoot something in GA4, you're like, oh, this is the answer for Universal Analytics, but it just combines the two. So that data freshness is very real. You just kind of forget about it. It's a beautiful website.
This is what I'm excited about.
On to the news, but first, the Online Sales and Marketing Summit, October 2nd to the 3rd. It's coming. You can still, we've got a handful of tickets remaining available on the website, literally like a true handful. I could hold all those tickets in one, probably in two hands.
Yeah, I had somebody reach out today that wanted 6. So,
well, that would be unfortunate for those listening.
2% commission on that one.
So limited availability. It's also a great time to book travel. The Do You Convert team ourselves, most of us booked travel last week. Airfare it's like the downside is not a lot of houses being sold in comparison to prior years. The good news is airline tickets are no longer $1,000 to go anywhere, which is like awesome. And one favorite thing, Jen, about the summit, you have to pick one.
Oh,
it's your guest
Kevin,
this week.
One favorite thing. I think,
or describe it in a single word that's not
single word.
Credible.
Impactful.
Yeah, that's always been from day one of the very first Online Sales and Marketing Summit, which was just Mike and I and a dog park with poo in it.
Hey, I was there.
It was still impactful.
Attendee.
We had no idea how to put on an event.
Yeah.
The hotel was old and boutique-y, but like mostly old. But it was full of like, you can go take this and use it.
Attendees perspective, it was amazing.
So now, after that first year, all the kinks were ironed out, and it's been just incredible ever since. But that's our focus: impactfulness.
I like it.
Not hype. News you can use, as they say, in that
Oh,
rhymes.
I like that.
That's
News
good.
you
News?
can use.
Yeah, I think again, I was making fun of the local TV station ads that play on bad websites. I think that's why that was stuck in my brain.
Oh,
Okay.
local
I thought it was
TV
a
ads
segue
are
into
great.
our news section.
Yeah, so the other segue in the news section here is that we have 2 articles on attribution is BS. It doesn't stand for bull honky. It stands for something else. And we're showing just 2 of the illustrations that go along with it. One is a bird giving attribution worms to little chicks who are, email and search and social and different ads. So
They're all fighting.
we're going
over
to
it.
let
That's
the
good.
deep dive on those articles be for when the ladies who have written the first 2 parts are on to talk about, but go check those out. You'll have some fun and you will learn something, I promise, as well. So
I just love the title.
oh yeah, it's great. It's
Perfection.
full. It's full.
I had
Beth.
somebody say to me on a call yesterday, like, man, I just love these articles. I mean, the title is just spicy and it just got me like, I just love it. And I'm like, yeah, tell you, those marketing gals, man, they're
read
just
it.
spicy burritos over there.
Yeah.
Barito.
Also spicy because I think people are. Is it weird to say that people are sad that the benchmark results are not worse? I feel like as I'm talking to people, there's kind of this general reaction of like,
oh,
wait, people are still having results like this? I really? Especially when I see it shared on different networks and so let's do it, Jen. Let's talk Q2 2024 online sales benchmarks.
Okay,
Give us the tea.
So that's interesting, Kevin, that you say that, because I myself was like pleasantly surprised. Like I was like, oh, awesome. Because, we've been hearing from everybody, right? Like, oh man, like appointment to sale, that's tough. It's tough right now, and leads are down. And yes, leads were down, but it wasn't as drastic as I was anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we saw that appointment to sale go up to 23%, I was like, dang, okay, let's go, online sales specialist. So yes, you guys can go read the full article, but lead to appointment stayed strong at 39%. That didn't change from Q1 to Q2. Appointment to sale went up to 23% and contribution went up to 48%.
That's amazing.
I'm like, I just want to publicly a round of applause for everybody working so hard. And this, even like internally at DYC, we talk about like our online sales coaching team and our marketing team are collaborating. I've seen such a huge shift in the collaboration between marketing professionals at our builder partners and our online sales teams too. And I think that goes into the strength in these numbers as well. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's doing such a good job. Everybody is asking questions, digging deep, trying to figure out which levers to pull, what's working, what's not. And, online sales, man, like I always talk about this. You probably heard me say it 50 times. Online sales is the constant in the equation of this crazy new homes industry that we're in. So many other variables, salespeople, who knows what's, that's up and down. Like you were just saying, turnover, going on, sales, like pricing, interest rates, availability, what's happening, our consumer sentiment, even like all these things are fluctuating. And online sales, they have a constant, consistent process, right? That never wavers, no matter if it's a tough market, a good market, a hard market, a normal market, whatever. And we can see that in the numbers. The numbers tell that. So
just to go back to that, it is kind of this misery loves company. And so people who aren't doing well, it's kind of like, oh, if this is the average, which is what we're talking about, then
Right.
there are people doing better. There are people doing worse. These are the averages. And there's also this idea of, leads are down. And I just encourage everyone, go back, if you're a marketer listening, go into your CRM, pull out leads by source by year and go over it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So one of our builders was, concerned about lead volume. And in preparation for the next call, I just went in for 2022, 2023, and 2024 and pulled out lead volumes broken out by source across all projects. And they are about 20% up so far year to date compared to last year in total lead count. Things were slower in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
June or July is going to suck, right? One of those two is going to suck. We just don't know which one. But the first half of the year was better than 2023. So again, this recency bias. And so here's the thing. Why does everyone feel like it's so bad? Is I think, again, this is just a feel, this is a vibe that I'm picking up, is that people who are not part of marketing or online sales are getting a little bit annoyed about our ability to be consistent. I'm not trying to, get as spicy as Beth or Jackie. It's just what I'm picking up, what people are putting down. It's kind of like, you're able to continue to deliver what we need. Why is it so hard for us to do the same? No, it's hard because this is the most important part, like getting the customer to sign on the dotted line. That's where I'm not speaking down to it. I think it's just, I can see, I guess what I'm trying to say, Jen, is I can see how it'd be demoralizing a little bit. Our team's not winning. The other teams are quote unquote winning. I think it's a sign that, again, there's not great collaboration, because I never, as a marketer, ever felt like I was winning when we didn't hit our sales goal.
Well, exactly.
And so that's when you know it's working, is when everyone, like if I get on a call and I say, how's the month going? And the marketer's chippy and cheery. And then we look at the sales results and I'm like, ooh. And they're like, yeah, well, it's just tough.
I'm doing my part.
I'm like, when I was in your shoes, I couldn't sleep at night.
Right.
So anyway, but better. No, I'm really excited about the 48% contribution.
I hear what you're saying. Like, yes, if we're not getting sales, that's hard, right? Like, nothing else happens in our organization as a builder unless we have sales. Like, we have to get sales.
And that's why I keep pushing content and trying to get people to think about what are the other reasons that the sales team is struggling. And that's where, again, like your ability as a collective group to tell that story well to other departments and people above you is how the game is won or lost. Those three groups, online sales, marketing, and sales, if they're closely aligned, sharing insights, looking at the data, both qualitatively and quantitatively. And even the marketers in the online team is saying, it's not just the salespeople's fault here. Like our competitive analysis continues to show we are $60,000 more expensive than our nearest competitor.
That's why I told that prospecting story, but because I just want to remind everybody too, like the newer leads right now that are coming in are taking longer to convert. So like, it's not a quick conversion. The appointments that are happening right now from new leads, those are going to convert later. What we're seeing convert more now is those prospecting leads. So the builders that are doing a good job of that, their numbers have increased because of the prospecting efforts. So again, that's why it's so important that everybody is doing more nurturing. I mean, Kevin, you and I talk about this all the time. Like you have to be continuously nurturing your data and your
customers. But stop being so positive sounding, Jen, because I think it's hard for me. Now, this is my vibe. It's hard for me to be positive about nurturing because I'm on almost every builder's list that I could think to be on. It mostly goes to my spam box on a shopping email that I use. But I've never seen an overall worse level and approach to nurturing.
I know.
Ever.
I'm not saying that it's great, but I'm saying the ones that are doing
yes.
the few ones You're doing a good job.
The few, the proud.
Like a little teaser. I'm excited because we actually have access to the Builder 100 data from last year's shop where I can go in and see who's been following up since last August. And the preliminary results aren't great.
So that sounds like a lot of opportunity.
We will be sharing that at the summit for sure.
Yep. That's good. Yeah, you have in here 15% plus of appointments in a month coming from long-term leads. Yeah. That's a big difference. I mean, if your sales goal is 50, there's 7.5 sales.
Exactly.
That's a big
We're
deal.
seeing
then
that
7
kind of
times
like
12,
be the minimum right now.
Like
we used to say like, okay, if you get 10% of your appointments coming from older leads, you were okay. Like that was pretty good, right? Now we're seeing like 15, 20, I've seen up to like 40% of appointments coming from older leads. Because if your leads go low, like if you're like, oh crap, okay, what do we do? You gotta go
back.
Prospect.
That's right. Yeah. And among the other list of things that we don't have to worry about from Builder Online, 62% of Gen Z and millennials want to be homeowners despite everything else.
And the other 48%, 38% just are undecided, right?
Yeah.
They want to rent.
But here's I think it's saying despite the current concerns, like despite the environment, they're on the hunt, they're considering, they're open to the idea of home ownership. My hunch would be that the other ones are like, now it's just not the right time. We even have some of our own employees who I've had to, who I'm thinking about, and she'll laugh about this, but they're like accidentally sent a Slack message they meant to someone else like, this is how much a house is in my area. Like, what am I supposed to, they already own a house, but they were just flipping out about the price of houses. I was like, it's okay. Like it's, let's just walk through it.
Yeah.
But people want a house still. And that you'd have to go back a couple of years, but there was a time period where everyone was saying, by the time Gen Z gets around, they're not going to own anything. Mm-hmm. They're not going to own cars. They're not going to own houses. They're just going to be migrants, just renting everything as they need it.
So,
but Kevin want to be homeowners and able to be.
No, but it wasn't that long ago, Jen. People were saying they're not going to want to be, their eyes will be open and they will understand that dropping large amounts of money or getting debt for something just rent it. And that way you can move whenever you want to, be highly mobile, less stress. That's what it's all about. Nope. They want to own a home too. But yes, to your point, they do have to be able to afford it.
That's true.
Which is what I just side note, personal note, I have 2 young adults.
You do. You're probably having conversations
coming up into the and I think about like Mia when she finishes vet school and the debt that she's going to owe for her vet school and like starting her career and like, owning a home. Like, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see what happens.
It will be.
There's a great little nugget here at the end that says that Gen Z and millennials note online resources 55.4% as the way they plan to learn about the home buying process. Mm-hmm. So that one blog written 5 years ago about how to buy a home on your website, probably not going to cut it.
No. If they'll get it from unhappy new home owner on Reddit for the Gen Z person, and they'll be like, don't buy a new home. That's, which is far from the truth as far as, they should not be thinking that. So we might as well put the content out. We could indoctrinate and educate.
All right. We got 2 more quick ones. This first one I just think is, I'm encouraged to see people's responses to this.
Oh, man.
From futurism.com, Google's latest pitch for AI is so sad it sounds like a spoof. This is so depressing. If you've been watching the Olympics, you might have seen Google's new ad pitching its generative AI-powered chatbot Gemini. And if you have seen it, we're curious. Did you roll your eyes to the back of your skull when you first saw it too? The commercial in question features a young girl who aspires to be like Team USA hurdling star Sydney McLaughlin. The girl's father, who narrates the ad, wants to help his daughter write a fan letter to her favorite athlete. So he turns to Gemini to help him do it. Help my daughter write a story. Blah. Gemini spits out the requested letter in what looks perfectly generic.
Yeah.
And it just goes on to just talk about, like, we don't even have time anymore to like teach our kids to truly like be parents.
Yeah. And it's an email. And as far as like, I'm thinking like, oh, you should write a letter to your, like, it'd be a handwritten letter, and the person, like, that would mean something. I thought, so I saw it and I'm like, ooh, let me try to watch the commercial first before I read and potentially get influenced by what the person wrote. And I liked the beginning. I thought it was going to lean more into the father learning how to help train and grow and make his young little athlete better. Because that's like, ooh, let's help this dad out here.
How to be a better coach, how to be a better dad.
Coach, how to do this. And I'm like, ooh, because that would be perfect, I think, for Gemini. And then it went the other direction. I'm like, what? It's like choosing the words for you. There's no meaning. There's no, like, I think the article went a little off the deep end as far as like trying to get into like education of kids. I'm like, that's like, I don't know if the authors, I'm not qualified to talk about that whatsoever, but I'm like, all right, is that really the sadness here? It just missed the mark, I think. It
stripped out all of the humanity.
Yes.
Around one of the most important relationships that you have in your life. Yeah. And that's, again, kind of the reaction I had when sorry, Kent, but my brother said that he was using ChatGPT to write his, speech for the wedding. And it's like, don't tell me that. If you're going to do it, that's one thing, but don't tell me that. Like, it just, if I was the daughter, I'd be like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's how I took it too. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that either as a triggered child who had a terrible, set of parents who didn't do any of this. So, like, I could see, I don't know, I think there's lots of other things you could bring to this that would make it worse, to your point, Andrew, like if the writer goes too far. But the whole point is to use this stuff to make us be able to have more time to do it's like that meme that's going around of, I wanted AI to wash my dishes and clean my house so I have more time to do the stuff I want, not make me more efficient at doing the stuff I have to do so that I can have time to clean the dishes and clean my house. Like, that's not the goal. Make me more human. And
it's probably always dangerous to talk about parenting in a commercial. Like, things maybe you don't touch.
Well, it goes back to like what we were talking about earlier. And Kevin, you said, I think, something about like, be efficient on the things that make sense, but like on the things that are super impactful, like your kid or a fresh lead or, your best 5 prospects, like, you don't need to be efficient. You need to like over index. On those things.
And I'm not, okay, so if you've ever heard someone get emotional talking about a parent, maybe a parent who's passed away or they don't get to engage with, or they're in a nursing home, they never, the common thing that I've noticed, I could be wrong, it could just be me, but it does kind of go along with general life, the reality of how life works. The stories that people tell that make them emotional about their parents are stories about their parents sacrificing for them. They might, like, I didn't appreciate what they were doing at the time. Now I look back, I realize they were sacrificing. So there's no sacrifice in this. And I think, can you pass along a lesson to someone else without sacrificing? Sure. Do you want to have it mean more? Then give something up. Like, give up your time. Anyway, that's, here's Apple's chance at making AI the thing that everyone is excited about again. And I downloaded this on my phone. You can go ahead and get now the iOS 18.1 developer beta. Go to general settings, software updates, select beta updates. And as long as you have the current iPhone, you will get Apple Intelligence features, or a handful of them, turned on. And it's just kind of okay.
Writing.
I mean, this is as someone who's already been using and testing out and trying now probably close to 30 different AI tools and of different types. And it's nice to have it.
Can you talk to the Peloton bot that I spent like an hour with yesterday that couldn't
Sounds like a bad time.
schedule the
But Jen, you should
appointment.
consider how amazing the response time metrics look on the dashboard report for the Peloton team. People don't have to wait anymore. They can just engage with the bot.
The bot transferred me to a person.
Oh,
The person then dropped our chat. So
the human.
there's that.
Get out of here.
So when we were in Cancun on vacation, my Apple Card got locked down, even though I told them I was going out of the country, but they still got locked down. We were going to this 4x4 expedition thing in the jungle. And so I'm on the bus, got time to kill. And so I'm interacting with the support team, and everything on the Apple Card, they just basically start texting you through a secured text line. And it took forever because this person, in air quotes, probably has 50 different conversations going on. You have to verify your login and all. Like, it takes forever. And my kids are watching because they got nothing else to do. We took away all their devices. So it was either look outside at the same set of palm trees, for the next year. And they're like, Dad, this Katrina is clearly a bot. Like, clearly. And then Katrina had to transfer me to someone else after they identified my problem. And now Bob is helping me. And they're like, Dad, Bob, no one talks like this. No one acts like this. Those three little bubbles coming on are just to make you feel like someone's thinking when they're not thinking.
That's so funny.
I was like, I don't think this is a bot. I think it's just one person trying to juggle 30 different things.
Multiple chats at the same time.
But again, this generation coming up, man, they're going to be hard to impress. So here's the things that you can test out right now if you want to. There are writing tools where it will summarize conversations that you have, similar to, well, not similar to Grammarly, because Grammarly is kind of in-process suggestions and edits. Not full scale, please rewrite this in a different approach, the way that Apple does it. Siri is a little bit better. The animation is way better. Now covers the whole screen. You've got summaries in your mailbox, summarized notifications. I'm most excited as someone who has close to 4 terabytes of photos and video content of my family over the last almost 20 years.
It's a few.
Natural language search in photos. Like, we use Amazon Photos. That's the thing I love. I'll talk about it more there. Well, I guess this is my segment for love, hate too. Amazon Photos is unlimited storage of photos where you can just, the other day, my daughter's a senior. She's on the varsity soccer team. And they said, please send in 3 photos of your son or daughter, over the years playing soccer. She gets on Amazon Photos. She types in soccer, clicks Avery's head. Just looking at all the pictures of Avery playing soccer over the years.
Oh, that's cool.
So Apple's trying to bring some of that same functionality to your Photos app on your phone. And so, I'm just here to let everyone know, if you are one of those perfectionist people.
You can test this out right now. Did you test it out?
Yeah.
Yet?
Mm-hmm. It's okay. Amazon, I think, has already had most of these features again, where it just, it will show you everyone that you have loaded up in your photos. It's free, by the way, if you're an Amazon Prime member. Unlimited photo backup. You have to pay for a certain amount of video.
I mean, this Apple photo thing is live now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the faces? Yeah, searching by face. I guess that'd be the. Yeah.
And you can use natural language again to say, I'm looking for soccer photos, or I'm looking for a palm tree. Okay. And so that's all cool. And I think this will be the first
call recording.
Yeah, right? We got some spicy recording stuff for the summit too.
Oh boy.
Tools and opportunities that people are looking at testing out. But this will be the first opportunity for large amounts of people to engage with AI all the time, except for probably Meta's search, which is, still causing people heart palpitations.
Yeah.
That you're trying to do a search on the platform, and you could also ask it how to make brownies.
It is confusing.
But between Llama, which is Meta's approach to open sourced AI on all their platforms, and they're giving it away for free because they want to use that information to create a better ad product for advertisers. And Apple, I think that's going to be the real test case of. So right now, even enterprise, I was watching a news program, and they were talking about most enterprises who have paid for Copilot or Microsoft or like broader licenses of AI software. They're like, well, we tried it out with 200 employees, not worth the lift. Because shockingly, most people aren't using any of it.
I was going to say, no, they're not using it. That's what I was going to guess.
So what's happening right now is that companies generally, they're talking about using AI, and then in practicality, the IT teams are saying it's not worth spending the money for. Mm-hmm. But individuals are using it to make themselves better.
I was going to say, that's probably what's happening. And they've been using it before the broad implementation.
And they're paying $25 or $50 a month for a couple different tools to make themselves as an individual employee more productive. But it'll just be interesting to see how this broader rollout of in-your-face AI usage starts to impact things. Because the first time that you get a text message from your daughter that you can tell she clearly didn't write, I just want to know how you feel about that, Jen.
I won't feel good at all because I'll think she's like kidnapped down in St. Kitts somewhere.
I'm like, can the real you talk to me, please?
Yeah.
Like, I want the misspelled words and bad grammar.
Okay, so Amazon Photos is my current favorite. I just think it's the number of people who describe, like, it's so, because you can, all of my kids' devices, they know it's on there. We didn't like do it clandestinely. I don't know. We didn't do it like to be sneaky. But every night when they charge their phone, Amazon Photos just uploads everything in their camera roll to the cloud.
Oh, man.
Including screenshots they take or pictures with their friends. Like, it's all there.
Yeah.
It's a great service.
I'm going to check that out.
What do we love? What do we hate?
Let's see. What do we love? So I'm like 10 years old here, and we finally started Game of Thrones, which is really interesting. Yeah, so we're on season 3, which I think is like 2017.
Game of Homes? Is that what you were talking about?
I wish it was Game of Homes. It should be if there was a Game of Thrones version that was like Game of Homes, or the vice versa.
You guys remember that Netflix show, that terrible Netflix show that came out that was like Shark Tank for like Buy My House with Glenn Kelman from Redfin? You didn't even watch that?
I know we talked about it.
Never watched it.
It was the big thing of like, oh, this is going to, and it just.
No, it flopped.
Game of Thrones, sorry.
Game of Thrones. But what I'm looking forward to, because I don't know, Kevin, if you watched it, Jen, if you watched it, I don't know if you watched it, like, it's complex to learn the characters and the relationships, even more so because you're like, well, that's the brother and the sister, and they got 4 kids together.
I've watched it twice, Andrew. Once, I think during COVID, and I don't know if I watched up until the live point that I got the finale. But then I watched it a second time because my wife was like, I think I'd like to watch that. And I had to edit out like the overly graphic stuff for her. But second, I just had to keep explaining
some of that stuff.
Who is this
person?
I'm
like Googling it, but I want like the family chart. And so I'm like, I want to get in ChatGPT and like,
it's very hard to follow, I think.
It's hard.
But
I get like an
series.
episode. It was good. I get an episode. I'm like, my brain's done. Like, that was cool. Like, I can't do it anymore.
Kevin, are you watching House of Dragon?
No.
I heard it's
I tend to only stream things for the most part when they're completely done.
Then you can just go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we waited forever on this one, but yeah, so that's been good. And then ChatGPT, like, it's been great for very, very specific things. I'm just more of a fan. I pretty much told you what I use. I told you what I use it for: formulas and regular expressions. So
regular expressions. Ooh, that's a life hack.
Yeah, which now I like understand them better. So it's a crutch at first, but then you're like, oh, I remember how it functions. It's a cheat code.
My favorite thing right now is the Olympics. I mean, we're just like, we're watching.
Oh, so Jen, I heard an interview. I often will stream the morning show from CNBC because I'm old now. Mm-hmm. Like I'm that old person who's like, I've got a daily show that I stream while I'm working on stuff. And they were interviewing the president of Comcast, Universal, whatever. I guess they own NBC too. Anyway, they're doing the Olympics, and he said viewership has been off the charts because of 3 things. And the first thing he said is that it's Paris, and Paris is beautiful. Everyone wants to be in Paris or go to Paris. I didn't fact check this. I didn't search it up, but he was saying that Paris is the most like people want to go to Paris more than anywhere else in the world. If you take all of the world and say, it's believable, right?
Yeah.
So Paris is a win. The second thing he said is because, so they have all these backdrops of Paris and just being able to use all the imagery of it. And like when you're watching beach volleyball and there are Eiffel Towers in the background, that's pretty cool. It almost looks like a video game, like Street Fighter. Like they just dropped it in there to look cool as a background piece. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that because it's Paris, then celebrities and rich people want to go to Paris, to watch the Olympics, which they might not do if it's Tokyo.
Right.
So then they realized very quickly, we need to, and you'll notice now they do it nonstop in their coverage, constantly showing different celebrities and their reactions to it, which makes everyone like, okay, I want to be there. Generally, I want to be there with those people because they're cool celebrities, rich, famous people. And then you have the Olympics. It's like those three things all kind of combining together. It's just made.
And I mean, Snoop Dogg is pretty. That's pretty.
I don't understand that. I like it.
So
but
lovable.
my Melanie keeps, every time she sees one of those segments, she's just like, I can't believe, because my kids have no idea. That was one of the things we had to search up was how old is Snoop Dogg?
He's old.
They wanted to listen to one of his songs.
Like 60 something, isn't he? He's got to be 60s.
How old is Snoop Dogg?
Well, I love like old school rap, so I'm a big Snoop Dogg fan.
Well, I think it's good.
I like people talking, so
yeah, exactly.
He's 52.
Oh, only 52? Wait a second. He's only 52?
He looks young for his age? That's what you're saying? I don't know which.
He looks,
which way we go?
I thought he was 60 something.
It's his,
his
hairline.
No way.
What age then? That means if he's
his real
52.
name is Calvin. Born in 71.
If you're over the age of 16, then you probably have or under the age of 20, you have no idea who he is. Or
unless I will do like music education time with my kids in the car. Lindsay doesn't appreciate it because she's like, what did you make them listen to? And why do they know like Colors by Ice Cube and like all these different songs? They probably shouldn't know. But then, so they might know, but like they're not discovering Snoop Dogg on their own. Like Taylor Swift, yes, she is universal, multi-generational, but Snoop he hasn't put out music.
Snoop and Taylor Swift need to do a collab. Which, may be coming. Who knows? He's everywhere.
Who knows?
He's
like everywhere.
Doing stuff with everybody. So
I think the next steps for the Olympics, those three reasons: Paris, famous people, celebrities, the Olympics itself. We need like step 4, which would be like reality show around the Olympics, almost like Big Brother meets Below Deck, Real Housewives of the Olympics. That'd be awesome.
Maybe we talked about this on the podcast. Maybe we didn't. But Snoop Dogg's collaboration with the Solo Stoves.
Oh, crashed and burned.
That was a big black mark on the Snoop Dogg legacy because they paid him millions of dollars and sold almost no incremental volume of stove.
It didn't help. It didn't help
because he was hyping up like I'm giving up smoke on all social media channels.
Up weed.
Yeah, right? Which caused all this fuss, and then it was just and
it was really for the smokeless solo.
I think the perception could be like he got his money and the product sucks. Like for fans.
I just think
but the
that's
rest
how I viewed the Olympic stuff as like, I bet he went to some pal and said, yo, KO, I'll do this for like nothing because I need to stay hip with the kids.
That was my favorite part of this podcast.
Okay, yo.
By the way.
Go. K Izzle. Yeah, he's oh my goodness.
Yo, KO. That's what I'll call you from now on.
KO. I like it.
KO.
Yo, KO.
All right, this show is over. We'll see you next week, everybody.
See ya.